Okay, so today I want to talk about Candace Owens, or Candace Owens, as her nickname is, because she's essentially a white nationalist black woman. Statistically, anything can happen, guys. Just about anything. And also, it's more proof that deep down, we're all special snowflakes with our tiny little differences that make us who we are. I also want to talk about mental health. It's a very big part of everything I am. Now, this, you look right here, I'm trying to get it in focus. It's too close, doesn't focus well. Tried to kill myself. Went across because it was in the moment, and that's how most of them happen, in the moment. And thinking about going down, even though I knew that. But I've been in mental facilities, been getting help and therapy and so on for years now. And I got lucky, I got pills that helped me. And I recommend everyone who needs help, go get help. With a caveat. If you're poor in America, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be short. It's going to be a trial. You're going to see a lot of therapists take a lot of pills. But it's the only path if you got mental illness. So please, go get help. Just know it won't be simple. At least not if you're poor. Now, let's see what Candace Owens thinks about therapy. She hates it.
Do not consider yourselves wrong for going to therapy. I once went to therapy. I had to try it out because my parents were getting divorced and I was dragged into it. I hated it. It wasn't for me. But it is for some people, and I do suppose that some people are coming out and being better people. But on the whole, as we move toward this society that believes that feelings trump facts, the facts don't matter, that the feelings are so important that we have to ignore the facts. We have to assume that the majority of the therapy sessions that are happening are reflecting that, right? That you have people sitting in a chair telling people that their feelings are all that matter, that no matter what they do in this world, it's perfectly okay because of some tragedy or upset that they suffered when they were 5 years old.
First of all, this is all insane BS. Messed up. Also, because, feelings matter. Also, Candace is, in my opinion, like the personification of repression. That's why she doesn't like therapy. She loves repression, which is a feeling she has. So it's BS when she says, the feelings don't matter. And your feelings are why you hate therapy so much, Candace. But there is a critique of therapy that it can't help a lot of people as it should. I believe the problem with that is capitalism. So that's all we do everywhere in this entire country. Every facet we can shove it into. And that for most people in this country, there's a price discrepancy to get into therapy where we'll see, as I said before, a trial of therapy where we're treated like a number. And it will just add to a lot of the problems we'll be bringing up to the therapist, which is our economic instability. Because so many people are working class in America, and the therapist can't fix the fact that we got to work 3 jobs to survive. Moving on. One last thing. I just need to clarify. My bad. I don't think that should be a reason for people not to go to therapy. I'm just saying that I think a lot of mental health is so connected to economic stability. And it's very important for people to be economically stable to be mentally healthy. When you have that stress where you work paycheck to paycheck, you ain't mentally healthy. Living like that just won't be. That's why I think the federal minimum wage should be $20 frickin'. That'll help a lot of mental health, trust me. Now moving on.
And what has it produced? Well, it's produced a society of men like Prince Harry and women like Adele who overshare, who tell us way too much. And it's not a society that I want to live in. I want to live in a society like the one that my grandfather lived in.
You sure about that, Candace? You want to live back then? I'm going to read something her grandfather said about living back then. And also, her grandfather does not seem too fond of her politics. This is her grandfather speaking. I'm going to link this article. He also revealed her background. Candace herself is international. Candace is in the middle, and she can accept everybody. That's the way she was brought up from a child. Yeah, she ain't doing too much of that. She was brought up in a predominantly white neighborhood, and people told us not to move up there because we weren't going to be accepted. I'm from the South, and I was born and mostly raised in North Carolina. I know how it was. My father was attacked by the Ku Klux Klan back in the day, and he put me under the bed because of all the bullets that were coming into the house. When I peeped out, I saw was people in black clothes and riding horses. Naturally, I grew up wondering who those people were that were riding those horses and shooting at us. Although it seems if Candace's grandfather ever told her that story, she's repressed all of it. Let's see what she remembers about her grandfather.
And I tell people this all the time. I never saw my grandfather cry a day in his life, even when I knew he was positively destroyed and heartbroken when we lost my grandmother, surprisingly, right? A woman that he was married to from the time that he was 17, the woman that he dedicated his entire life to and built his entire life around. My grandfather did not cry at her funeral.
Holy Christ. Oh. Well, it's becoming clear, but if you hate men crying so much, Candace, why ain't you yelling at your buddy Jordan Peterson? Christ, he cried so much. He's our freaking ace in the hole during the end days. We're going to use his ass to fill up all the dried lakes.
That there's nothing to them but corruption and power. It's like, how the hell do you expect them to react? You know, well, I shouldn't do anything then, you know. That's what you got. And, you know, if they're more powerful than pain, maybe they're the most real things. So I wouldn't change that. But it's not nothing. And it's certainly not just happiness. It's better than happiness, but it's almost unbearable.
He was one of those men that believed that no matter what you were going through, you let it burn in your chest, right? And a lot of men don't like that now. Men don't know. Men need to be vulnerable. You actually don't need to be vulnerable in public. You don't need to be vulnerable in public. We need to see examples of strength everywhere. Strong women and strong men. And of course, we all assume that you have moments of vulnerability. We all do. All I'm saying is that we don't want to hear about it. Stop. Button it up. Let it burn in your chest. And that's all I have to say about that.
Well, don't do that. Please. Men need to cry. Women need to cry. Trans people need to cry. Non-binary people need to cry. Everybody needs to freaking cry. Yeah, get your emotions out, guys. Important. But Candace, it seems your biggest problem with therapy or a lot of this is that men crying or, you know, people in authority figures crying makes you uncomfortable. So you don't want to feel uncomfortable seeing them cry. All of this is feelings-based, Candace. Your feelings, your childlike feelings and ways of thinking about emotions are why you hate therapy. Now, I want to show just one little thing, which is how all these Republicans act after a mass shooting. Speaking about mental health.
Guns, no guns, it doesn't matter. You have people that are mentally ill, and they're going to come through the cracks, and they're going to do things that people will not even believe are possible.
these shootings, we have people who have mental disturbances.
We know that most of these people are mentally deranged, so do we need to do a better job in mental health? You bet we do.
Mentally ill people are far likelier to be the victims of violence rather than the perpetrators. So the fact we tend to only discuss mental health in a mass shooting context is deeply misleading.
We are not the only country on earth that has people with mental illnesses or want to do harm to other people. We are the only advanced country on earth that sees these kinds of mass shootings every few months.
When Republicans talk about mental health after mass shootings is the only time they really talk about it. If they're going to talk about it again, it's like this. It's useless. Makes men wear dresses, because that's never happened before. Children. Or, just very greedy people who know exactly what they're doing. But one last thing I wanted to say is if you need mental health help, please go get it. I know I said it wasn't going to be easy, it's going to be long, but it is the only path for mentally ill people to get the definite care they need, that you might need. I just hope one day it's a lot easier for the poor people in this country. And I hope y'all have a good day.